So I've seen a bunch of copywriters online in the last few days talking about story leads and how effective it is to open up your pitch, your VSL, video sales letter or sales letter or whatever, your copy with a story that puts the prospect in the middle of the action and that pulls them in and dramatizes the entire selling proposition that you're going to have for them by the end of the sales copy. I agree. Sales leads are one of the most powerful approaches to opening up any kind of sales message to cold traffic, because they don't come across initially as being like I promise that you're going to change your life and whatever. Like, they don't come across as being this hard sell, and prospects are much more open. Like we have filters going on in our minds all the time that are constantly trying to protect us from being manipulated, pulled into some pitch. And one of the ways that we open up, and one of the times that those filters goes a little bit lower, is when somebody's telling a story, not a story about us, but a story about themselves or a story about somebody else. And we open up and we listen to that and we give it a little bit of extra time and space, and assuming that you're selling something that legitimately benefits your prospect in a big way, and getting them engaged with your message will lead them down a path to improving their life. Like, it is your job as a marketer, as a copywriter, to get them to take down that filter for a minute, long enough for you to introduce the solution that you have for them. And stories are a great way to do that. Like, going all the way back, like tens of thousands of years, humans have sat around the campfire telling each other stories. And they are a form of communication that is many times older than advertising, direct advertising. So absolutely, use stories, embrace stories. But as I taught a few years ago in my story selling masterclass, and it's a timeless lesson. It's not like, here's how to set up your Facebook account today. Like, that's a very ephemeral lesson. I don't know if I got the pronunciation right on that, but that's a lesson that's here today and gone tomorrow, because the technology changes. But story selling, like storytelling, again, it's tens of thousands of years old. And story selling, using the principles of effective storytelling to sell, it may not be tens of thousands of years old, but it's not going to get old anytime soon. And it may be more effective today because of the clutter of advertising. It may be more effective today because stories tend to get past compliance a little bit easier than straight promises. It may be more effective today for any variety of reasons, but the lessons that are effective today are the same ones that were effective 50 years ago, and the same ones that will be effective 50 years and 100 years into the future, and potentially thousands of years into the future. And the one thing that I would say about story selling in particular that you need to consider is that story selling is not just about the story. This is what I teach in my story selling masterclass, that the stories you use, like, it's one thing to be a great storyteller, right? To be able to capture the audience's attention, to grab their attention, to hold that attention, to take them on twists and turns that get them emotionally excited and invested in the characters, and that has them very open to what's going to come next. That's one thing. But then to be able to take that skill and turn it a few degrees and aim it at actually making a sale, that's a different skill entirely. And so the storytelling really only forms one part of story selling. And yes, you should get good at it, and you should learn how to tell a great story that gets your prospects engaged, and that, throws them into the middle of the action and gets them like wanting to know, desperate to know what happens next. But you also have to remember that your job is not to just be a storyteller. You're not working in Hollywood if you're writing copy. Maybe you work in Hollywood, the city, but you're not writing entertainment if you're writing copy. You're writing sales messages. You're writing things that are designed to sell. And so your story selling must include sales. How can my story serve this moment of the buyer's decision-making process? Whether that's just initially capturing their attention and making it clear that this is a relevant message to them, or helping to diffuse an objection that they may have to moving forward with your product or service. Like, the stories are going to be different there. And at every element, or at every point in the buyer's decision-making process, at every point in the sales cycle, the appropriate use of stories is different. And so that's why in the Story Selling Masterclass, I taught 3 pillars. One pillar is storytelling, like the actual story that you use. And it's critically important to understand story in order to use story selling. It is also critically important to understand sales and how different stories can contribute at different points in the sales process. And so, for example, like, I use stories differently if I'm at the point of closing the sale versus at the point of opening the sale versus at the point of trying to establish a human bond with my prospect versus whatever. Like, I find the appropriate story to fit at the different points in the selling process. And then finally is a critical, and actually I suppose I was just speaking to it. Finally, a critical element of story selling is character. And this isn't character as in like the characters in the story, but what character are you choosing to embody as the voice of the promotion? And what relationship does your prospect have to that character? And so, is your character the one of the hero who comes in and, solves the prospect's problem magically? Like, is that your character? Is your character someone who is there to serve the prospect in their own hero's journey? Is your character the crazy inventor who came up with this crazy idea? Is your character a loving parent role who your job is to direct the prospect to lead their best life? Who's your character? Like, is your character a rebel and you are on the prospect side fighting, the system as it stands through your product or service? What is your character? So story, selling, and character. Story, selling, and character all contribute. Those are the 3 pillars that I teach in the Story Selling Masterclass. They all contribute to using stories in sales. And they all contribute to effectively persuading people with storytelling, not just to pay attention to you and be entertained by you, but to translate that attention and entertainment and interest into a desire for whatever solution you have for the problem or challenge that they're facing, and ultimately to translate that into action, into buying your offer, into taking you up on whatever it is that you have today. And the more intentional that you can be about those 3 pillars, the more effective you will be in using stories in your copywriting, in your marketing. So my name is Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. It's been a while since I've talked about story selling, so it feels good to be back to that. If you want to go deeper on this, I'll include links in the description. The big link that you want to check out is the Story Selling Masterclass, which goes deep into those 3 pillars. I also have a book called The Ultimate Selling Story, which I'll include a link below to that too. It's a quick read, and it goes through my PISA process as what I consider to be the ultimate, like the hero's journey of story selling. And both of those are valuable resources. They serve different levels, but the links to both of those are included with this video. Let me know before you go. Leave a comment below and let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable did you find this lesson? And importantly, why? Like, what was your big takeaway? What's your action item? How did this make you rethink how you use stories in selling, or how you might use stories in selling? Leave that comment below with a rating and why below. Also, make sure you click the like button before you go so you get more content like this delivered to you. Also, so the magical algorithms of the internet know to go out and find more people like you who would find this valuable. If you have somebody in your life who would find lessons on story selling valuable, you can share this with them directly as well. And make sure you're subscribed. You can subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com, get my daily emails Monday through Friday covering marketing, copywriting, business building, selling, and more. And you won't just get these videos, you'll get additional content delivered that is only available to my email subscribers. And the way that you'll find out about that is by subscribing at breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. One more time, I'm Roy Furr with Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And thanks for watching. And I look forward to seeing you again in your next video issue. I'll see you soon. Bye.